Okay, this is part two. I have a previous live video that dragged out for 40 minutes explaining who I am. You can read who I am in the description of this video. So I'm just going to go now straight to this election. At this time of this live video is just before we know whether Trump or Harris is going to win this election. And this is probably, if not the most significant time in human history, the largest, most important event of all time. It's up there, probably in the top 10. So why this election is so important? Kamala Harris, the first female U.S. president, if she wins, defeating the thug tyrant Trump if he loses. If Trump wins, it's not the end of the world, but it'll feel like it for at least 4 years because, well, it should be pretty obvious by now. Do I really have to explain why? So I know Kamala Harris isn't perfect, but at least it will retain preservation of democracy, keep things stabilized, keep Europe, the Western Europe countries happy. And so right now, this moment is one of the most significant times of our lives because of what I just mentioned with Kamala Harris, the first potential, at this time of this video, potentially the first female U.S. president. And that's significant because it gives lots of people, lots of females, some hope that the glass ceiling has been broken at the highest level in the world. That's the world's highest position ever that there's ever been, and there ever will be for a while. How long will that be? I don't know, maybe 10 or so years, could be 100 years. I don't know. I don't even know how long humanity is going to make it. This is interesting. If you ever want to Google something, when you have time, Google the doomsday clock. That will give you an idea of how much time humans might live on Earth. So why do I have 2 viewers and not a single thumb up or chat? Somebody chat. If you want to ask me a question, feel free to ask a question in chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to ramble, but it'll be a good ramble. In my previous video, I talked about my qualifications for this commentary. So in my opinion, I'm a prior service member of the United States Army Military Intelligence and NSA, National Security Agency, currently FBI's Department of Public, OPS, Office of Public Service. And so I have some very deep connections with the federal government. I've been inside the White House. I've been inside the Situation Room, Oval Office, the United States Capitol. I've been inside the Pentagon. I've been in Washington, D.C. quite a bit. I worked there for at least a year. I lobbied in Washington, D.C. for clean energy. I think that was around the year 2011. And met Senator Pryor of Arkansas's office in the Senate office building. I had a badge to get in there and all that kind of stuff to get through security. I was flown there by some not public relations. What's that called? It's been so long. I can't. What are they? Lobbyist. I was a lobbyist. Yeah. So, all right. So why is this election so important? Um, well, like Mr. Governor Walz says, everything's at stake. Everything. We have everything from abortion rights to national security, NATO. I explained in my previous video that I was a defender of NATO in the late 1980s to defend Germany, and I have a letter from the Secretary of Defense thanking me for helping end the Cold War at that time. Now we're in the new Cold War that Trump wants to accelerate in Russia's favor. I spent 2 years of my life pushing Russia back from Germany, and now this thug wants to undo that work I did by sleeping with Putin and who knows what other dictators he wants to be in bed with and satisfy and and compliment. That's a treasonous reason enough right there not to allow him in office, other than being a convicted criminal, blah blah blah. Um, yeah. So now, what's wrong with Kamala Harris? Well, let's see. She was under Joe Biden, who has some defects. Joe Biden did accomplish quite a bit. Look him up on Wikipedia and look at all the things Joe Biden did accomplish before you knock him down too much. So yeah, he's too old now for this kind of stuff. I agree with that. I don't think there's really. I like Kamala Harris the more I listen to her. She's very articulate. Oh yeah, and this gets into the reason why I think a lot of Trumpers hate Kamala and Biden, because a lot of them are country hicks with low education, and they envy. They're apprehensive about their beautiful smile. They have all their teeth. Their teeth are white. They have their. I don't know about Biden, but I'm pretty sure Harris has her original teeth, and they smile a lot. They're happy, and they're articulate. On the other hand, Donald Trump is he's he has quite a bit of emotional instability, anger, emotional immaturity, a lot of hatred towards minorities, and he's dumb overall, stupid. And so the ignorant hillbillies out in the country can relate to him, and they like, oh yeah, that's my guy. Yeah, that's my guy. And they're like, Kamala with that beautiful smile, I hate her. She's not like me at all. And so it makes me look bad. Kamala makes me look bad with her beautiful smile, all her teeth, and she's intelligent and articulate. That makes me look bad. I know the feeling. My own family is apprehensive against my education and health and everything. There's lots of animosity. They wish the worst for me, that I will not be professional, not be successful, because it makes them look bad. And when you have low education, that gives you an inferiority complex. And so I'm just saying that's why I think this about Trump. I'm not trying to put down. The goal is not to put down family members. It's to explain why I feel the way I do about Donald versus Harris. It's because of my experience with family. I can see through what's going on. When I travel through Pennsylvania this year, that's what's going through my mind a lot, comparing these hillbillies out in the country with what I know about living with and near hillbillies out in the country of Arkansas and Texas. I've done it a lot. I've lived in the hills not the hills, but the redneck territory of Arkansas and Texas a long time, a very long time, like decades. I've been there. I know what it's like. I was a country hillbilly. I was I was a extreme gun owner with I had a Springfield 308 sniper rifle with high capacity magazines and a scope and the whole works. I had all that shit. That's not a hunting gun. So I was there. I know what it's like. I know the feeling. I know all about it. And it was somewhat fun. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. But the problem is, it does when you're voting for someone like Donald Trump out of total ignorance and falling for the cult of his cult. And when they're in the cult, they usually can't get out. They don't know they're in it. And so they don't know that they're in something bad or wrong. And ironically, my mother was in the Nazi Germany, late 1930s and early 1940s. So she was in communist East Germany. I think she was there during independent Germany, and then it got taken over by Russia. And I forgot the chronology. I'm not a World War II expert. I'd have to consult with a World War II expert on this. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is she was under Nazi rule by force. She didn't want to be there, so she defected out west. So it's highly insulting. It would be highly insulting to her that two of her own kids are in support of this Hitler-like individual. Very, very, very Hitler-like individual is Trump, and two of her own children are two out of the three are very highly supportive. To the best of my knowledge, at the time of this video, I haven't been checking, but the last time I knew, very highly supportive of Donald Trump and his dictator type personality, authoritarianism, and the fascism. All right, so some of the things I wanted to get into about this election. Very, very historic. Oh my God, it's 7:30. This is about the time we're going to start getting an idea who the winner is. I'm not looking online. I don't know who's going to win. I've been asked many times, who do I think is going to win? I say 55% chance Harris, 45% chance Donald. It's all about the Electoral College, which would kind of normally favor Donald, and Harris would get the popular vote, just almost identical to what happened to Hillary Clinton. And in the United States, we have a terrible record of making it not so easy for female president. So I live it's about a 2-hour drive to Donald Trump. I live on the other side of Florida. He's on the east coast of Florida. I'm on the west coast of Florida. I've been through Mar-a-Lago a few times. I've never been inside the complex. This thing about the top secret documents and all that he had over there, when I had my top secret security, which I still have, it doesn't have expiration date, by the way, from the National Security Agency, my top secret security clearance, I had it at age 18 and age 19 actually at Fort Riley, Kansas, and when I was sent to Germany to push Russia back from their planned invasion of Germany. And so, if I would have misplaced a single one top secret document, I would have been probably sent to Fort Leavenworth Prison, Kansas, for a long time at age 19 with no prior work experience. Now, here he is, all this work experience, uh, management experience, TV personnel, TV media experience, mismanaging a multitude of top secret documents, and out roaming around running for president of the United States to manage. It doesn't have any military experience, so therefore not qualified to be in charge of the DOD. And yes, that means Kamala too. I'm not 100% pro Democratic Kamala just because I'm anti-Trump, but I would say I'm mostly for Kamala versus Donald. So that's just BS. This whole thing with the security documents, maybe Biden's guilty of it too. I don't know, but just whatever the evidence says. I want to switch gears to Donald Trump being a business. A lot of his followers being businessmen, being in favor of him for being a businessman, saying that, oh, this country needs to be run like a business, so I'm going to vote for Donald because he's a businessman. Well, what about someone who manages a tile store? That's a businessman. Does that qualify them to be president? No. Donald was a realtor, not a realtor, but a real estate mogul, someone who greedily hogged up real estate, developed it, destroyed the environment, hired illegal aliens so that he could get cheap labor and make a bigger profit with his, or try to make a bigger profit with his whatever he did. So what I'm getting at is this thing about he's a businessman. Well, didn't he have some trouble with money, bankruptcies, casino failures, whatever? Anyway, so if you want to put something in the chat, what you would like me to talk about, feel free to do that, and then I will respond verbally. The last video showed me the chat wasn't active, but this one is showing the chat is active. I wanted to say something else about Donald with his business, why people support him for being a businessman. Think of it. I don't know, commander-in-chief without military experience for both Donald and Kamala. I have kind of a problem with that. I mean, aren't there better qualified people to be president? People who graduate West Point, for example. I was just at West Point this year. I toured West Point, and I spent a lot of time there learning what it's all about. Seems like those would be a lot better candidates to manage the country and the military. I don't understand how somebody can. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, Kamala's very highly qualified for sure for high-level positions, but I'm just thinking somebody with, someone who's been an officer in the military, and that's just got to be better qualified to me, in my opinion. I don't know. And what I was scared about with Kamala coming from California is, California is pretty much a left-wing liberal Democratic society in general, at least politically, and it's kind of a failed state in a lot of ways. Um, but California is also a huge economy, and there's a lot of success there. You got the movie industry there, and well, uh, some presidents have, I think, at least Ronald Reagan has come from California. Um, what scared me at first about Kamala is her coming from California, because I think a lot of Californians, if not most of them, are a lot pretty much nut jobs. But from traveling the whole United States, I could say the same thing about every state. Every state in the United States has a massive percent of lunatics. I don't know what percent it is. It's probably just an opinion, and I don't know if you had a professional psychiatrist determine what that percent might be, what it would be. I don't know. Let me guess. At least 30%. uh, Average out of every state, California being probably a higher percentage than most other states. I just toured all of New England. I spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania, and it worries me uh, that that's going to lose to Donald, but maybe not. I've been told by professional political analysts that Pennsylvania will go to Harris because Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, etc., are Democratic cities with a huge population of blacks and, well, I think mostly blacks, Hispanics, by far black in that area, that are going to vote for Kamala. But when I was out in the country, Pennsylvania, I'll tell you what, I saw a lot of Trump signs and banners on single wide trailers, and when I was making some what do you call that, insulting comments about people trailer trash and single wide trailer trash, I actually wasn't referring to family. I was referring to what I saw in Pennsylvania, single wide trailers with just horribly, horribly badly maintained, with a big Trump sign on the front. And I was thinking, you know what? If Donald Trump met that owner of that house, couldn't get close to him, because he would say, "Ooh, get that nasty hillbilly creepy piece of shit away from me. I don't want to have anything to do with them." And those are his voters. That's his cult base. The ones who worship him the most is going to be the single wide trailer trash out in the country, who Trump would have absolutely nothing to do with. He would he would squish them like an ant. He would say, "Get those cancer tumors off the face of the earth if possible." He wouldn't have anything to do with them, in my opinion, in my professional opinion. Uh, and a lot of middle class with homes like mine have, a lot of upper class have uh, Trump signs and banners in their yard too. But when I drove through Pennsylvania, especially, I saw a lot of trashy hillbilly estates with big Trump banners, huge, 12-foot, 16-foot, even some 20-foot tall stacks of hay with TRUMP, farmers for Trump and whatever. It's like, really? Aren't there thousands of better qualified people than this moron? Um, all right. And as I mentioned before, I do agree with a few of Trump policies, but he's not the guy. There's so many other better qualified people. I'm one of them. There are thousands, or at least hundreds, of better qualified presidential candidates than him. I can't say that about Harris. I think that she's top quality now. I don't know about even a year ago, but seems like lately she has really held her professionalism together really well. Yeah, maybe a goofy laugh or whatever, but she can't be complete. She can't be perfect. There's got to be something for SNL to have a skit about. I mean, imagine how boring Saturday Night Live would be if Kamala were just perfect. What would they do? Would they be out of work? And Jimmy Kimmel, what would he be doing if Trump were perfect? So yeah, Kamala. Presidential candidates, just so many better qualified ones. I mean, geez, why him? Okay, another reason why I think so is because in this capitalist society, we are conditioned to favor or idol famous people. So Trump is famous. He got famous through television shows. And it's getting to be close to 8 o'clock. We might be starting to get to know who's going to be president. I still don't know. I haven't looked on any of the news, and I'm scared to look. I'm actually scared to look because it's the difference between a stable democracy with an imperfect female president who's going to do an adequate job and carry on some of the Biden legacy as well as new stuff. So I'm not putting Kamala on the highest possible pedestal. I'm putting her as qualified and suitable. It's amazing how she maintains her professional speaking ability, considering what she's up against. A lunatic who's unhinged, and the stuff he's saying is if anyone should be locked up, it should be him. All right, so what am I getting at? All right, so the difference. I had a milkshake on. I want to make sure I don't have anything embarrassing on there. So the difference between the two, well, it's pretty clear. My neighbor had a political sign in his yard that says, obviously, Harris. Somebody took it down, and then the next sign my neighbor put up, let's just say we did something that we can't say what we did, but whoever stole the next sign had a little bit of an incident. And if we had that on camera and the media got a hold of that little incident, that'd be the talk of the world, that video. I promise you it would. To see the expression of that person who tried to steal the Kamala political sign out of that guy's yard, that would have been something. That would have been a historical event right there. But we don't have the video because it wasn't my yard. My yard is a security fortress. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have about 15 cameras inside and out of this complex, and lots of other security protocol. All right, so, oh yeah, did you see all the security going up in Washington, D.C. in case there's a riot? I can't believe they're boarding up windows of businesses in anticipation of a Trump rebellion. And I think that's kind of gonna create a little bit of a legitimacy for the Trump team to claim fraud in the election, that on one hand, that that there was fraud because how could they know that Kamala's going to win? They're boarding up all the windows. So I defend the Trump team on that a little bit, not fully, but I would say they kind of got a little bit going on there. But in contrast to side with Kamala, well, of course, well, if you look at the history in 2016, they need to get prepared just in case Kamala wins. So that's a much stronger argument than saying, well, it's rigged because they're boarding up the windows. They're both valid arguments, but I'm afraid to say I'm going to have to tell the Trumpsters that they're not going to win that argument. They're immediately going to lose that argument. They got a little bit of a point, but it's completely ridden by the fact that based on history, they have a legitimate reason to get ready for some riots. What kind of riots are going to happen? Are they going to activate my division of Infragard, the partnership with FBI? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to get that bad, but because I think this time there's a lot of preparation. What do you think? Why isn't somebody chatting over there so I can chat with you instead of chatting with myself? Well, not that I have a big audience. 3 people. Could be just trolls for all I know. I don't know. Could be family. I have no idea. So, all right. There's some other stuff I wanted to get into about this election. Yeah. So, it's interesting when I was in the Constitution Center just moments before the Kamala Trump debate. That's another very historical day, that debate, but not nearly as historical as today and tomorrow. This is just, we are witnessing a time when historians are really going to be looking back, possibly looking at this video, comparing how people were before they knew who was going to win, Trump or Harris. There's no independent going to win. There's no Green Party going to win. That's not possible because we don't have ranked choice voting. And when I ran for president in 2016, I didn't want to run as a Democrat, but the system is just, it needs overhauled. How are we going to do that? I heard one way is going to have to be all Democrats, and it's going to have to be a Democratic Senate, House, and presidency to all work together to implement something like ranked choice voting and to overhaul this 270 electoral college, which sometimes will benefit either party overall about equally, but I don't like it. I think it should be the popular vote makes the most sense to me. It makes the most sense. Not because it tends to favor Democrats, but it seems to just favor logic. The 270 number is just kind of illogical to me. It's just not right. There's something wrong with it. So I haven't spent a lot of time, I haven't studied that area of politics a whole lot, but I do know there is a ranked choice voting option that is currently implemented in the state of Maine. At least Maine. I think somewhat Colorado. I don't know. You know what I'm surprised is Colorado is a liberal Democrat. That really blows my mind because Colorado is a ultra wealthy. I mean, you got to be kind of rich to to make it in Colorado really well because it is just so expensive, and it's just that's just like a high end state. That's a very high end state. I'm surprised that's not Republican. I would guess because the Denver metro being very, 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 very heavily Hispanic. I don't know what's doing it. I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. I'm guessing on that one. This is just the importance of this election. Right. This is just mind blowing to me that we're witnessing as I'm speaking the possibly the most historic event of all time for humans in the world. The future of the world, the way it's going to go, is so heavily influenced, whether it's under Donald's dictatorship or Harris's democracy. Which one of those two is going to be huge? Because under Donald, we could lose NATO, which could be the taking over, Russia taking over Ukraine, and then Finland, Poland, Germany, all those Western countries. He'll take it all. He'll take the entire Western flank, he'll take all those NATO countries if he can. It's probably going to be difficult for him to do that very fast, but he might get further support with his buddy from North Korea, and maybe China will get involved with it. China. Do you trust the Chinese? I don't. I tried dating a Chinese woman. You know what they do? They send attractive Chinese women over here to try to infiltrate military bases, and it almost worked. I mean, I was almost a victim of that because I have a military ID card. I can get in any military base. I'm a little bit scared to try Area 51. I've studied Area 51. I haven't been in it yet. I've been in Roswell a lot for a long time. Well, not a long time, but a couple days, and you know what I found out about the Area 51 UFO supposed incident is that it didn't happen. And you know how I know that? Well, because I'm a pretty fart. A pretty fart feller is the amount of technology it takes to get to Earth is the alien ship is not going to crash on this gentle planet. The amount of technology it takes them to get here, they are not going to crash on Earth. If they can get here, if they can do interstellar travel, even from this galaxy alone, even from just another, let's say just the next closest solar system to us, if they can get here from there, they have the technology to land gently on Earth without crashing. Crash not going to happen under any circumstance on Earth. No. Number one. Number two reason, our military, which I have spent a lot of time dealing with, the 2 years I was in, 8 years in active duty, and from 2000 from about 20, when did I get my military ID? I think at least since 2015, I've had my military ID. I can't remember. During that time, I've been to a lot of military bases. I can tell you firsthand, I'm sorry to say this, but it's the truth, what I've witnessed. We don't have a competent enough government. We don't have a competent enough government to create an Area 51 alien abduction cover up and not have the facts disclosed to the public. It's just not going to happen. I'm a witness that our military and government cannot work together competently enough to cover up something like Area 51 alien crash and abduction, or not abduction, but uh, Area 51 alien crash. They can't do it. There's no way they can. Well, maybe there's a way, but the chances are so minuscule, so highly unlikely that they could actually pull that off. The same thing with faking the moon landing. It would cost more money to fake that than it would have to just simply gone to the moon. So, yes, we did go to the moon in 1969, for sure. And for sure, there was no alien crash on Earth. And 9/11 cover up. No, the government is not competent enough to cover that up. The government is not competent enough to cover up chemtrail stuff. There are no chemtrails. That's condensation from jets. They're not changing the weather. If the Democrats are smart enough to change the weather to get more votes from green people, because they will vote Democratic if they're scared of climate change. If they're that smart, then just go ahead and let them be in office, because that's pretty damn smart. Let them go ahead. That is very smart. I was going to say something about, yeah, when I ran for president in 2016, and a deterrent for me to run in the future, which would most likely be 2032, because, if Kamala wins, then I would want to run in 2032. If Trump wins, then I would be wanting to run in 2028, because I'd be running because we would have a fresh pool of Democratic candidates. And the reason why I mentioned 2032, if Kamala wins, is because she'll be running again in 2028, or AOC. So we got AOC out of New York, who is quite a potential presidential contender coming up, probably in 2028 if Trump wins this election, and AOC will be running in 2032, probably, in my opinion, if Harris wins this election. I had a sister with, that's one of the rare slips I do. I had a conversation with my sister in 2021, I believe, early 2021, where I predicted, when she was bashing Kamala for, I think, about her smile or laugh or whatever. She can't stand the way she talks or whatever. I said, well, get ready, because Kamala will be president of the United States. I said this in 2021. And I said it for the reason that happened, because Joe Biden will not be able to competently hold his office long enough. And it kind of happened. I mean, I was kind of right, where I don't know if you could say I was right or wrong. I was half right or whatever, but I was pretty much on track with that thought. I don't think I specifically said to her that she's going to run for president in 2024. I was more on track with saying she's going to be president one way or another because I just couldn't see. I couldn't see Joe Biden holding out that long with his. I could see his mental state and health and everything in 2020. It's just because I mean, just like old dogs, when they get up that high, they just kind of go downhill quick a lot of times. And so, anyway, yep. So, no one's chatting live. So, this may be a question for just future viewers. What do you think about all this? If you want to leave a comment, now I'm going to see what my neighbor is asking about his dog. Yes, she's doing great. She's sleeping on my sleeping bag. I'm doing a live stream video on YouTube, and I'll plan on coming over there maybe around by 8:30 with some little bit of rice. I don't do these live stream videos very often. I think I'm doing pretty good for a live stream video from somebody who doesn't have experience with podcasts and live streaming and public speaking, and I don't have a script at all. This whole thing's been ad-libbed. My neighbors wanted me to come over. I have black rice I want to bring over there. We're going to have a black rice party. And, yep. And so I think I've covered pretty much what I wanted to. I wish somebody would chat so I could just chat about what somebody else wants to talk about instead of what I want to talk about. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I would do as president. You know what my biggest thing is? Immigration. Yeah, I'm interested in that, and I'm on Trump's side a little bit about that, in the sense that, yeah, the only people coming to this country should be qualified to do work that is needed, and can pass a background check. But he's just not the person to handle it. It should be somebody else handling it, like me. Okay, so one of the things I would do is create a Department of Peace, at least just to make a statement, for obvious reasons, a Department of Peace, with collaboration with the Brookings Institute in Washington, D.C. And my biggest thing that I want to do is possibly get us completely out of debt with one simple thing. Now, this would, to get us out of debt and create a very ethical business environment in the United States that will give lots of people incentive to work instead of mooching, whatever way they mooch. Maybe it's disability, maybe it's parents, maybe it's workers compensation. I don't know, whatever way they're mooching. I mean, it's theft. People steal. So it's because we have a very unethical business environment where it's very unattractive for people to want to work and stay there working, because a lot of bosses are a bunch of assholes. I've had a lot of them. I haven't had a lot of assholes. I've had a lot of asshole bosses. All right. Now, the way we're going to do this is we're going to take the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. We're going to keep the employees. We're not going to gut the IRS. We're going to transform it. We're going to transform the IRS into a kind of like an extension of the FCC, an extension of the FBI, an extension of some other government agencies geared towards fining, 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 not finding, but fining the freaking the freaking hell out of bad people, especially business people. And so the main things that they would be doing, how they would get fined, why they would be fined. Number one, environmental crimes. Now we need to create a new list of environmental crimes that would include things that are not on any list right now, not on any official government list. Our official government list is going to consist of environmental crimes being the following: waste, excessive waste, noise pollution, some ad lib. I don't even have my list on my presidential campaign website yet. I'm just making this stuff up as I go with you here. I'm having some power surges going on, but I have a whole house surge protector, so I don't know how it's getting through. Anyway, oh yeah, there's a hurricane coming. Another one, a third hurricane coming. Raphael, I think. I'm going to be on the eastern side of Raphael, category 1, 90 miles an hour. What was I saying? Yeah, so the list. Thou shalt not, no religion stuff. Okay. But related to religion, you know what? Oh, I didn't even talk about my point. My religion view is kind of neutral. I'm not atheist. I'm not gung-ho evangelical Christian. I don't dislike God. I don't dislike Jesus. I don't really dislike religion, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, but it does. And that's what a lot of our wars are about. Okay. And I feel like I have a relationship with God or supernatural. So I think there is a creator. We could be in a simulation. Don't laugh, because there are a lot of credible physicists who have lots of reasons to say we could very well be in a simulation. All right. So, if we find bad environmental criminals, currently they're not criminals. You can overpackage products. You can telemarket, or telemarketing is not really an environmental problem, but mass mailing is an environmental problem. Currently, that's legal, and I want to keep it legal, but only if somebody asks for it. So be no more sending anyone junk mail unless they ask for it. And it needs to be very clear when you sign up for something, when somebody gets your physical address, they have to have your permission to send shit to you, junk mail to you. Junk mail has been one of my big pet peeves. I have a video from 2008 whining about junk mail, and this one solution to it. All right. So yeah, we gotta stop the junk mail. There are some solutions how to do that. One idea is, on our mailbox we can have a symbol that says that signifies no unaddressed mail. It has to be specifically to the people indicated on the sticker. If it's not addressed to any of those people, can't put it in the box. So all these big newspaper things that say current resident, but no more of that. No, 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 no. That would be a crime. That's an environmental crime. Unnecessary waste. I'm not anti-business. In fact, I'm pro-business, but I'm pro-ethical business. Okay. There's some other ideas, some other possibilities where business managers who meet certain qualifications, if they take courses in business ethics, tax break, business tax break. Yeah. The business owners that refuse to take that course, higher taxes, increase their taxes. Maybe have a study of, anyone new here, if you're, feel free to put something in the chat there on the right side of the screen. And if you want me to talk about a certain subject, feel free to put that in there. But what I'm doing right now is talking about solutions, how we can get out of debt easy in the United States and eliminate the IRS at the same time. That's contradictory because we need the IRS currently for federal funds. For a huge part of federal funding is personal income tax from federal income tax. I know how to eliminate that and not lose federal funds. Federal funds under my plan are going to come from bad actors, people who are harming the environment in various ways. So industry that's excessively polluting, industry that's importing products from China that are manufactured under conditions with little or no environmental controls. Either tax them more heavily or fine them heavily. Anyone, now this is not related to the environment that much, but it kind of falls under the same category of getting funds for the federal government, would be telemarketers who can't, who are calling someone who are on a do not call list. Fine them very heavily and go after them. Not only send them a fine, but enforce it. So this is what I was talking about with the IRS. They're no longer going to be making your life more difficult by requiring you to file a tax return. No, you're free to make as much money as you want and not pay any federal income tax. No federal personal income tax. There will still be corporate federal tax, but no personal federal income tax. Corporate income tax is going to go up to try to make up for no federal personal income tax. I don't like, in fact, I hate federal personal income tax and to some extent state income tax because it takes up a lot of our time, causes lots of stress. A lot of it is forged anyway. It's falsified. It leads people to be more criminal because they want to save. They can't afford to pay the taxes, so they find some way to cheat. And it's just an ugly thing. Personal income tax, federal personal income tax. No, because there are other alternatives, and I'm explaining. We have an endless amount of corrupt corporate managers and endless amount of corrupt individuals that we can just go after their assets and keep on fine. fine them until they possibly go out of business. And that solves a lot of problems. That gets rid of bad businesses that are corrupt. It it just it helps. So it pulls down the bad ones and decreases the competition for the good ones so that they can be more successful. The good ones go up, the bad ones go down, the government gets more money. It's really a great plan that nobody else is talking about. It's so rare. It's as rare as anyone talking about a Department of Peace. They just totally make sense. This is why I'm qualified to be president. Is that alone, just that one thing alone, we could, it just, it solves so many problems. If we get those IRS workers doing a different job, instead of picking on the individual worker who's trying to make an honest living, release release them of all that stress of having to file by April 15th so that they can go work and do other things. Uh, okay, then take those federal IRS employees, have them working towards collecting fines for environmental crime. Oh, that solves so many problems. It helps the environment. It gets us out of it, gets lots of money, endless money to the federal government. The federal government would be rich. It would be the biggest thing. They have an endless amount of money they can get from that. There's always going to be bad people, always, unless we get into eugenics to modify the human genome to not commit crimes. We're always going to have an endless supply of people doing bad stuff that the government can go after and seize their assets, finances, and use that towards better things, to push them down, to push up the good stuff and push down the bad stuff. And what kind of, I don't know about prisons. Should we really have prisons? Is that really accomplishing anything? I don't know about that thing. I need to consult with some expert. What do you think? Put something in the chat or comments about, especially federal prisons. I don't know about that. Does it? I think we should just put them to work. Just instead of just having them at idle in a prison. I know they are working. Some of them are doing work, but make them work more. Put them to heavy work. Okay, so yeah, if we could have a list of federal, someone came and went quick. It went from 2 to 3 back to 2 quick. If we could have a list of environmental crimes and have the IRS switch gears, go after those, especially in telemarketers, I think it's clear the environmental criminals are just so massive, obviously, with climate change going off the rails at an accelerated pace. And you know what? Climate change is normal, but the thing is, it's not at this pace. Not at the. There's been 5 mass extinctions, and we're in the 6th one created by people at an accelerated rate that would normally take hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions of years, to be occurring at this fast pace. Does that make sense? I've studied science a lot, so that's how I know that. It's called the Anthropocene. It's a human-created climate change. So yes, I agree. Yeah, there's always been climate change, but not at this fast pace. And so go to econeato.org, econeato.org. Maybe not right now, because right now is on my James Bond 007 acting portfolio, but in the future I may switch it back, or I may put another link to the political platform on there for presidency. There's some good stuff on there. You know who I'd like as a running mate is a scientist, either Michio Kaku, who I met personally, and another one would be Bill Nye. I would like as a running mate, or I would like Neil deGrasse Tyson as a running mate. He's a little bit controversial, but aren't all these high-level politicians? I don't know what they'd find out about me. I think it'd have to do with my siblings, that they would end up saying something. I don't know. I have no baggage. It would just have to be somebody exaggerating something about me that may be partly true, but they're just exaggerating it to blow it out of proportion. Or maybe it was true in the past, but I've improved now, or it's not true now. I don't know. I'd have to see what it is, and I'll honestly give you my opinion if that's currently valid or not. All right, it's about 8:30 p.m. I'm going to get off of this live chat pretty soon. If somebody doesn't put on a chat comment if somebody doesn't say something suggesting what I talk about, I'm going to get off of here. And I just wanted this to be like a historical video for future people to look at mainly, and analyze what a currently low-level politician type mindset person is saying about all this stuff. No comments, no chats for now, so bye-bye for now. And like I said, please comment, put any suggestions. If you want me to come back as live chat or not. If you think it sucks, let me know. Let me know what I can do better. Just tell me, if you're going to say, you're not going to say anything. If you kind of want to say something, but you're not sure, I would recommend just tell me how I can improve. All right. Thank you very much. Ciao for now.